So President Trump appeared at an AI summit in Washington DC on Wednesday, and in it, he laid out the White House's action plan for how the US is going to dominate the AI market going forward.
America is the country that started the AI race, and as President of the United States, I'm here today to declare that America is going to win it. We're going to work hard, we're going to win it.
In doing so, he explicitly mentioned a couple of AI stocks like Nvidia, AMD, Palantir, and Big Tech, but we already know these stocks. And in this video, I'm going to go through the lines or read through the lines and give you some underrated stocks that are also on the move and benefiting from the current AI boom. One company that is crucial to making data centers work is Astera Labs, which produces a component called retimers. Retimers allow for high-speed data transfer inside these data centers and enable the use of less expensive copper cables over longer distances while maintaining signal quality. As data speeds get faster and more servers are required for ever-expanding data, retimer manufacturers like Astera Labs are seeing strong growth in revenue and earnings. If we look at the chart since its IPO last year, Astera Labs is currently recovering from the market downturn earlier on in the year, but it looks set to thrive as an under-the-radar pick and shovels AI play. Going back to the presentation, President Trump then talks about how the AI industry needs things besides data centers in order to flourish: power plants, transmission lines, and chip manufacturing facilities. First, let's talk about power plants. Data centers are growing so fast that existing grid infrastructure is simply not enough to power them.
It's magical thinking how you are going to meet this kind of power demand never seen by mankind before. We are at the precipice.
There's a temporary solution to this impending power shortage crisis, and that is to have your own power generation on site. Enter the natural gas turbine. Manufactured by companies such as GE Vernova, this allows data centers to bypass the grid and is great for areas where grid capacity is constrained or electricity costs are too high. GE Vernova is currently making money hand over fist by supplying these natural gas turbines and just released a strong Q2 earnings report, with the stock going up nearly 15% on the day. The Energy Secretary Chris Wright, appearing before Trump, reckons natural gas is going to be key to powering the AI revolution.
Natural gas is what's going to power AI. Let's just be honest. What's going to be the main source of new electricity in the United States by far and away? Natural gas. Just because it's cheapest, fast, it's reliable and dependable.
The problem with natural gas turbines though is that they emit a lot of nasty gases into the air, and they're sort of just a temporary solution. One interesting field of power generation lies in nuclear power, namely in the form of small modular reactors. These are much smaller than your traditional nuclear power reactors, and President Trump specifically mentioned them in his address.
It's long-term, it's inexpensive, it's safe. What they've done is really amazing. So we opened up the industry, very strict rules, but we opened up the industry, and some of you are going to choose nuclear over oil and gas or whatever it might be.
A leading stock in the sector is Oklo, which has ties to both the Trump administration and AI luminaries such as Sam Altman, who used to be chairman of the company. Oklo's stock has already gone up nearly 3 times this year, but if the momentum keeps up, we could see continued growth in the share price. Doug Burgum, Secretary of the Interior, and Chris Wright, the Energy Secretary, says the Trump administration is highly supportive of small modular reactor development, but admits that the industry is still in its infancy.
But President Trump signed 4 executive orders on nuclear about 6 weeks ago, and there's been a flood of capital, fresh capital coming in. We've got a bunch of venture capital going towards, over close to a dozen different SMR startups.
We will have 3 next generation Gen 4 reactors critical in Idaho National Lab next summer. We're supplying HALEU, the fuel for these next generation reactors, we've already committed to 5, and we'll give it to a dozen of these next generation reactor companies.
Another interesting stock is Bloom Energy, which provides fuel cells that power data centers. The company just announced a partnership with a leading data center provider, Oracle, to provide power to these rapidly developing data centers in less than 90 days. Bloom Energy will be releasing earnings next week, and I suspect it'll be a cracker if the price action is anything to go by. And you can't build data centers without a few crucial materials: copper for wires and rare earths for semiconductors. When it comes to copper, already it is in a bull market. Copper futures traded in the US have gone up over 30% over the past 6 months. And if Trump keeps raising tariffs on it, it might climb even higher. This will help copper miners such as Hudbay Minerals, which has a big copper mine coming into development in Arizona. Copper stocks aren't popular amongst investors, but history shows that during a bull market in copper, which we're in now, copper miners can go up a phenomenal amount. If we go back 20 years to the last big copper bull market, Hudbay stock went from a bottom of $1 in 2004 to a high of nearly $30 3 years later. And rare earths have been in the headlines recently due to China using it as a bargaining chip for negotiating tariffs, and in response to that, and to reduce America's reliance on such metals, the US Department of Defense last month announced an unprecedented $400 million investment into MP Materials, a rare earths miner in California. This is unprecedented because the US Department of Defense has never directly invested in a publicly traded company in normal times. In fact, this stock was in my top 30 momentum stocks report for the month of July. Click the link in the description below to join my Discord server where you will get access to this monthly report. Anyway, the CEO of MP Materials was a guest at the same summit, and he took to the stage to talk about the importance of rare earths to AI.
Rare earth magnets are really the feedstock to physical AI. Robots, drones, everything we're talking about today, the biggest industry in the world to come. Essentially, electrified motion requires rare earth magnets.
General Motors is already a customer, and Apple just recently signed an offtake agreement to buy rare earths from MP Materials. So the future is looking very bright for this company. If we look at the chart, yes, the stock looks overextended, but usually these commodity bull markets last several years, so I'm bullish on MP Materials in the medium to long term. And before President Trump spoke, Vice President J.D. Vance sat down in an interview and was asked if this was just the beginning of government directly investing into stocks like MP Materials. And this is what he had to say.
Yeah, so Shabath, if you think about the great era of American economic dominance, right? It's the 40s, it's the 50s, it's the 60s. It's when we were so far ahead of the rest of the world that, economically, it just felt like nobody could possibly catch up to us. And back in that era, one of the great things that worked was true public-private partnerships, where we let the free market, we let private industries do what private industries were really good at, but we had a discrete goal in public policy, and we tried to facilitate it, right? There were certain basic research things that didn't make sense in a private sector context, but maybe they made sense for the country overall. There's certain, weapon systems that maybe weren't profitable. We were going to make them profitable because they were important for American national security. Of course, the entire moon landing is a story of a great public-private partnership that produced a whole host of great technological development and economic benefit downstream.
The vice president just said that the US government is going to keep doing more deals like that over the next 3 years. Other critical industries include coal, copper, lithium, medical devices, semiconductor manufacturing, pharmaceuticals, lumber, and of course, data centers. Trump also managed to score $500 billion from Japan to invest in basically whatever he likes, so expect the US government to strike deals with private American companies like MP Materials going forward. Just going back to the energy story, Trump is not only a fan of natural gas and nuclear, but also of good old coal.
But we're unleashing all forms of energy, including natural gas, oil, and clean, beautiful coal. I instructed my people, in the form of Chris and Doug in particular, you are not allowed to say the word coal without saying clean, beautiful in front of it.
And here's a stock that mines both coal and rare earths. Ramaco Resources just opened a huge rare earths mine in Wyoming. The company has former Senator Joe Manchin on its board, and the opening ceremony this month attracted the likes of Chris Wright, the energy secretary that appeared earlier. Here's what he had to say about the first rare earths mine in the States in over 70 years.
We've become too dependent on just simply critical minerals from countries overseas, most of all China. We have these materials here in the United States. We made it hard to permit mines. We made it hard to have industry in our country, where we have two critical things together. Coal, the biggest source of electricity on the planet, and rare earth elements critical to our national security and our economic security.
If we look at the chart, it's similar to MP Materials in that it's overextended for now. However, like I mentioned earlier, these commodity bull markets usually go on for years, so we might very well just be in the first innings of this bull market. And just to wrap up, I want to give you one more stock, Western Digital. WDC is a company that makes hard drives. With data centers popping up everywhere, they need hard drives to store all their data, and Western Digital is a leader. If we look at the fundamentals, this company has just been printing cash like clockwork over the past 12 months. Look at the growth in free cash flow, from 91 million last year to over 430 million in the last quarter. That's a huge increase. The company announced the $2 billion share buyback program back in May, and earnings are due to be reported next week, so even though the share price has rallied hard over the past 6 months, if management provide good guidance in the earnings call next week, the rally may very well continue. Alright folks, so that's 8 underrated stocks that are on the move right now and benefiting from the AI boom. Do you own any of them? If so, let me know in the comments below. And if you want access to my private Discord channel, please click the link in the description below to join the community. Thanks for watching and see you guys next time.